Hello. I have a question for you. Do you ever wonder what this law of attraction stuff is really all about? What does it really mean? And how come some good things happen sometimes and then sometimes not so good things happen? I know, it's the weirdest thing. And remember that movie came out and the book by Rhonda Byrne, The Secret? It came out, boy, back in the early 2000s, and it just went by storm, all about how our thoughts are things and that there's these universal laws that are happening and we're not aware of them, and then we're attracting things into our life that aren't necessarily good or not really getting what we want out of life. Do you remember that? Hi there. I am Susie Bowers, and I am the owner of California Hypnosis Center and Academy and Hypno Professional Publishing. And today on Everything Hypnosis, it is Wonderful Wednesday. Everything Hypnosis today, we're going to be talking about the law of attraction, and I'm going to be sharing a really cool book by a colleague of mine who I absolutely adore, and we're gonna dig into her book a little bit, but also we're gonna talk. I'm gonna go back in time a little bit when I first started studying these universal laws, which was, boy, I don't know when. Deepak Chopra. I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Deepak Chopra, but he has talked about the universal laws for 20 years. I mean, back when I first became a hypnotherapist and coach in 1995, I was maybe even before that studying the work of Dr. Deepak Chopra. And he has a book out that's been out since then called The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. And it's a practical guide to the fulfillment of your dreams. And it was very good and super eye-opening, brand new for me at that time, where it's like, wow, is this stuff for real? And basically the whole idea is that everything is energy. Everything is energy. And that means that our thoughts, and especially our emotions and our attachments to those thoughts, are actually creating an energetic effect, because whatever you send out, you get back. And so we need to pay more attention to that. And that's kind of where hypnotherapy comes in. And that's why we speak about this as hypnotherapists, because it's very much what we teach and what we're using in our hypnotherapy business or practices when we're working with somebody. So let's talk about it for a second. So what is the law of attraction? Well, there's a lot of amazing definitions for it. I'm going to read this one here. So the idea behind it originated some time ago, several hundred years ago. And some people even say in Rhonda Byrne's book, The Secret, she discusses how it was actually a secret from thousands of years ago that the ancient mystics were aware of. And then over time, as we developed technology and new political environments came in and religious environments, that principle was that then the knowledge and wisdom of the law of attraction or other universal laws were lost over time. And maybe that's because the powers that be didn't want the everyday people to understand these universal laws. So then they would have to be the everyday people would have to come to the church leaders to get their sustenance, their spiritual sustenance. I don't really know. I just know some of the history behind it, and that seems to be the pattern. So today, though, we're going to talk about it in terms of how we define it today. So there's a Russian occultist, and I actually have these books. I have a very big library that I've been digging into for 30 plus years. And this, I have these books here called Isis Unveiled by Helena Blavatsky. And she alludes to an attractive power existing between the elements of spirit and energy. So this goes way back. There's actually even many statements in the Bible itself suggesting the power of having faith and asking what you want. Ask and it shall be given unto you. And another really modern time group, Esther Hicks, and Asking It Is Given, that is actually the title of her book, is all about the law of attraction and how to attract to yourself and create the life that you really desire, those things that you really desire for yourself. There's Think and Grow Rich, Power of Positive Thinking, and all of these I had dug into. Creative Visualization by Shakti Gawain. We have Norman Vincent Peale, Joseph Murphy, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. And really what we're talking about is the focus and attention and what we imagine is the beginning of creation. So your imagination is a function of your subconscious mind. And I've been digging into, let me show this diagram once again. So last week I talked about, I'm going to skip around here a little bit today, just kind of speaking from my heart today. I'm going to get rid of that. So when I'm talking about this mind model and levels of consciousness, it's everything to do with what we're talking about, because everything, especially according to Dr. Deepak Chopra, everything is consciousness and energy. Energy and consciousness are interchangeable. So when we talk about it in terms of, hypnotherapy, we're looking at this from the perspective of our own thoughts and feelings. And it's our past experiences. So when you look at the diagram here, the mind model, there in the center, the subconscious level, those pluses and minuses are representative of your experiences, whether you perceive them to be positive or negative. So we would call these subconscious programs sometimes, and our beliefs about what we believe is true. And sometimes we call these blocks. These can be blocks because sometimes we have conflicting beliefs, which in psychology terms we call cognitive dissonance, where we believe one thing, but then we have a conflicting belief, and those two beliefs are not in alignment with each other. And so it can make us feel really stuck. But what's important to understand about this level of consciousness is that the outer circle representing that ego or conscious level of our mind, that's our wide awake state of mind, like our personality self, like you're sitting here and you see me as Susie and I see you as you. And we're walking around on the earth plane and we're thinking all these thoughts all day long, lots and lots of thoughts. And most of them are very judgmental and not very nice. But what's happening when we have a thought is it is creating a reaction from our subconscious that then activates a feeling behind that thought. So, shoot, I'm going to go blank on his name right now. I'll think of it in a second, but thoughts are things. And that is the key to this. Thoughts are things. When you really can grasp that idea that what you're thinking about is actually creating a reaction. It's creating a response in you, which then affects your energy vibration. And I'll talk about vibration in just a moment. But what's important to get is that it's your own thinking that is creating your experience and the feelings that you're having. And the cool part about all of this, I mean, it sounds kind of daunting, like, oh, I feel like crap all the time, so it's my fault. Well, we can think of it that way and put blame and judgment on ourselves. But that, again, is conscious or ego thinking. It's not real. It's an illusion. So a better way of looking at it is, instead of it's my fault, how about now that I know it's my responsibility to choose better thoughts and focus and choose and to imagine better outcomes. Imagine what I desire from myself instead of what I do not desire. And imagination is the key to all of this because it is the language of your subconscious. If you think about it, your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what is real and what you imagine. So think about this for a second. If you are watching a movie, right? We all like to watch movies and escape into other forms of reality. You're watching a movie, and maybe I'm going to use Star Wars as an example because I'm a total Star Wars geek. Let's say you're watching the movie Star Wars, and this galaxy far, far away. We didn't even ever hear of any such thing when Star Wars first came out. I was, I think, 12 or 13 years old, and it was amazing. And we're like, we're buying into this belief. We're imagining that these starships exist. We're imagining that these lightsabers exist and these other alien creatures that are living a life on another planet far away. And before you know it, you're sucked into it. You're excited. You're on the edge of your seat. You're rooting for the good guy. You're, scared of Darth Vader, and all these things and emotions are happening. But at a conscious level that it isn't real. It's not real. You know that, logically speaking. But for a moment, you suspend that belief and you imagine that it's real while you're watching it. And all of a sudden, you're completely emotionally attached to all of it. You're feeling the feelings. You're maybe crying the tears in some cases. You're feeling love and romance and affection and attachment to these characters, but the truth is they're not even real. It's just a story. So just to give you an example, that is the power of your imagination. So most of the time, though, we're walking around completely unconscious of this fact and then imagining what we don't want instead of what we do. And it goes along the lines of, let's say you're just driving along, you're off to work and you start imagining, oh my gosh, what if something happens at work today? What if I get fired? It's been kind of dicey there. Oh my God. And you start imagining, oh my gosh, what if I can't pay my bills next month? What will I do? How will I get another job? Maybe no one will hire me. And you start imagining all these worst case scenarios. And then you wonder why you feel anxious and worried and upset. And then the very thing you were worried about, you start attracting, you start to notice people are looking at you funny at work, or at least you're imagining that they are, whether that's real or not. It's real to you in your imagination. It may not really be valid though. However, in your fear and worry about this, you start to behave differently, which affects other people. The next thing you know, they're like, well, we don't really think you're the right person for this job. And you've actually manifested this worst case scenario. This kind of thing, I know it sounds kind of simplistic, but this kind of stuff happens. And it's just amazing to me how just changing your thought and your energy, and even if you do end up losing the job, you do get fired for whatever reason, you can still choose to be happy and upbeat and positive and thank everybody for what you've learned and how you learned and grew at this position that maybe you learned that wasn't the right fit for you, or maybe you learned something that you're now going to apply so that you can go make better money at a different job. Have a better work environment, whatever, and trusting the process. So part of the law of attraction is being in trust and faith that everything is just as it's supposed to be, and choosing your reaction to be happy no matter what happens anyway. It's okay to feel the feelings and, acknowledge when you've had a loss that, oh, that feels weird. Be with the feelings. Don't push it away, but recognize that it's fleeting, it's momentary, and don't stay stuck. Continue to imagine the worst case scenario. Now let's flip that around. Actually, you know what? Let's take a quick break and then we will flip that around and talk about how to change that and ways that you can change your own consciousness and way of thinking to make things more attractive in the way you want them to be. So let's do it. Telling me to dance, taking a chance. Telling me to dance, taking a chance. Telling me to dance, taking a chance. All right. kind of like my little song. Okay. All right. So I'm back. Hi there. I am Susie Bowers, and this is Everything Hypnosis on Wonderful Wednesday at 11:11 a.m. Pacific Time, activation time, where the angels come in and support us in everything we do. Thank you, angels. Okay. So we're talking about the law of attraction. We discussed how our thoughts and what we imagine can cause us pain and discomfort and actually set into motion things that we really don't want to have happen. And so, how can we change that? So, as I described, when we are thinking thoughts and worry about things and we're imagining the worst case scenario, it activates experiences in our subconscious mind because our thoughts are things. Bob Proctor, that's who it was. Bob Proctor, he always said thoughts are things. And the reason why is because our thoughts are creating at all times. And when we bring our imagination into it, those thoughts become very powerful energetically and set things into motion. In a moment, I'm going to talk about something else called pure potentiality. It's a big word. Pure potentiality that I learned when I studied the seven spiritual laws of success by Deepak Chopra many, many years ago, a couple decades ago. Um, so, first, you can shift what you're thinking about and what you're imagining. So, first step is to recognize when you don't feel as good as you would like. If you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling worried, if you're imagining the worst case scenario, recognize it as quickly as possible and stop. And I don't remember who came up with this, but it's so powerful. Right away, say out loud, cancel, clear, delete, and clear those thoughts out completely and recognize they are not real. They are not real. There's no point in worrying about things that have not happened yet. Always staying in your peaceful center. So then take 6 to 10 deep breaths. So, what that's going to do is it's going to reset your circuits. It also rewires your brain in a really positive way. I've talked about this before. Neuroscientists are now sharing with us that taking 6 deep breaths in a row actually causes positive neurological changes in our brain, perhaps even increasing those brain chemicals of happiness and well being. But the other thing that's happening when you take your deep breaths is you are anchoring yourself into your physical body. You are grounding. And so you want to start with that, then feel your feet on the floor. So even if you're driving, it's just your left foot on the floor, feel it and ground yourself. Get out of all the stinking thinking that's happening. Because what happens when you worry is your energy, your spirit starts to move up to the top of your head, and all of a sudden you cannot think clearly, you feel anxious, you can't put really good intelligent words together, and that's not the space you want to be in. You want to get yourself back fully grounded and in your center, breathing into your belly and holding it for a count of 2, exhaling it, holding it for a count of 2 after the exhale, then back in. And what that's going to do is it's going to anchor you back down, quiet all those stinking thinking thoughts that are worrying about stuff that hasn't happened yet. And then cancel, clear, delete that old stuff and start to focus on what you do want. So imagine then what it might be like when you walk into the office and your boss comes over and says, "Wow, I really appreciate you. You're so awesome." Because you're walking in with the smile, you're walking in powerful and peaceful and in your center. And you're looking at others not as competition, but as a team. And that's going to uplift the whole environment. And they're going to want to keep you. They're going to want to keep you. So staying peaceful, recognizing too when other people are off their center and off balance and maybe accusatory or whatever, it's not really about you. They're in their own fear around the situation. They're in their own fear of and imagining the worst case scenario for themselves. So, excuse me a second. I'm going to just check this technology, make sure everything's working okay. All right. Thank you for joining me. It's great to see you here. And today we're talking about the law of attraction and how you can make it happen in your life. Now, there are other laws let's see. I'm going to look in. So I wanted to just, this is what I'm looking at right here. I want to give a big shout out to my colleague and friend, Victoria Gallagher. She wrote this really great book, Practical Law of Attraction. Align yourself with the manifesting conditions and successfully attract your desires. It's very good. She even has the mind model in here. She talks about brainwaves and energy just like I do. And she's got it all in here in her book. She's got a mind model too. So this is all great stuff. Very, very good stuff. So let's see here. She talks about some of the other laws of the universal laws as well. Law of abundance and the abundance mindset. So that's kind of what I'm talking about right now. If you're in a scarcity mindset, you're going to worry about things that haven't happened. When you get into abundance mindset, you start to recognize that everything is perfect. And even if the worst possible scenario happens today, it is an opportunity to learn and to grow, not to blame yourself or feel like you failed or any of those things, because that's all illusion. Everything is about growth and learning on earth as humans. Everything is about growth and learning. All right, so last week I talked about the laws of quantum physics, which I've already discussed, which is about how everything is energy. So quantum physics is the study of the smallest particles of energy known to man. And it's just fascinating because everything you see in the physical world, including you, including the clothes you're wearing, the chair you're sitting in, the computer you're on, everything is vibrating molecules and atoms. That's it. In the air is vibrating molecules and atoms. Everything is energy. So the law of attraction itself all works best when you get into the mindset that everything is energy and you begin to experience everything as energy and you can actually feel it. Like just by talking about this right now, my hands are warming up. And because I'm also a Reiki master, and my hands are warming up just because I'm tapping into the universal energy that's all around us. And that's what the law of attraction, that is that space you want to be in to attract the highest and best things for yourself. And recognize that sometimes when you set things into motion, so let's say you are a practicer of the law of attraction, you are making it a daily practice. It's something that you're incorporating into your life. And I'm going to show you that something that Deepak Chopra shares on his website. And so you're taking time to imagine that you have 10 new clients a month that are paying you well. You're manifesting a big retreat. Maybe you're manifesting a book. Maybe in your job, you're manifesting a raise, or maybe a 100K job or a 300K job or $1 million or a new home or a romantic relationship. And so every day you're taking the time to get quiet within yourself and imagine this as if you already have it. You're bringing that, how good you'll feel when you have this thing, like you've already have it now, how happy you are that you have it. And you're practicing this every day. Okay, so you've set things into motion with your imagination. The subconscious mind is completely unlimited and it goes to work really fast to create whatever you are imagining. It does not know the difference between what is quote unquote real and what you are imagining. So it goes out in the universe and looks for the opportunities for you to make that happen. Well, sometimes the opportunity to make something really great happen, the opportunity to really make this happen for you to have that romantic relationship or that new prosperous job or home, that whatever you're doing now has to end. It has to go away to create the vacuum or the space for this new thing to come into your life. And so instead of getting upset when things are changing or, taking it personally that people decide maybe you're not a good fit for this position anymore and they're going to go a new direction, or maybe an old relationship that you just know isn't quite everything you want it to be, all of a sudden falls apart in maybe even the most nastiest way you ever, you couldn't even, can't stand it. Maybe there's affairs or there's bad things happening, but later on, you actually attract that ideal person. So 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, you are literally living the dream. You are living that life. You've created the life that you really desire. The thing that you are manifesting in your imagination has finally it's come slowly come in, and it's happening. It's actually you're living it. And you take a moment and you look back and you realize that everything that fell apart and didn't work was designed by you. It was designed by you, your higher self, your soul self, so that you could actually make the space in the room energetically for this next level of love, prosperity, achievement, joy, health, vitality, whatever that is. And so when things are falling apart, are they seemingly, I mean, because that's an illusion. When it seemingly things are falling apart, get excited. So Tony Robbins talks about this. It's like when you feel so frustrated and you're just at your wit's end and you're just like, I can't take it anymore. He says, get excited because that means you're going to have a breakthrough. That means you're about to have a breakthrough. It's like those old things are leaving, they're crumbling, those old structures that don't serve you anymore. They served you for a time to help you learn and grow so that you're ready to now move into this next phase. It's pretty exciting, really, if you can get into the space of your higher self instead of the space of the ego mind and the stinking thinking that worries about everything. You'll find that the law of attraction gets really easy. And when you have that trust and faith, it's all going to work out. And of course, whatever your relationship to the divine is, talk to that part, talk to that supreme being that's really a part of all of us, and gratitude and thankfulness. So just touching on last week, I talked about radical forgiveness. So from the point of view of radical forgiveness, every experience you're having is designed by your higher self or soul self in order for you to learn and to grow. And the very fact of your being here on earth as a physical manifestation took an amazing amount of intention, love, under, spiritual essence and drive to even be here. And it takes an amazing amount of courage to come to the earth plane and have a human experience. It's the school of hard knocks, especially when you're continue to be unconscious to what's happening and you feel like a victim of everything. You just feel like, oh, all these bad things happen to me all the time. But you start to get this and you can really incorporate it in your life and have ownership of it. Accept responsibility, stop blaming anybody else for whatever they did or didn't do, and start going, this is my experience. I created this. And not to put blame on you either. It's not a fault thing. We have to get completely out of that way of thinking. That is human ego thinking. It's nobody's fault. It's always an opportunity to learn and grow. And it's okay to fail a lot. You're going to fail a lot. And you're going to know more things today than you knew yesterday. And so you make decisions and you have experiences and choices based on what you knew then. And today is different. So this is an opportunity to make better choices about what you're thinking about, what you focus on, and what you desire to experience, to learn, and to grow. Oh my God, it's just so wonderful. I got up this morning, I was a little groggy, and I was just so excited. I get up and it's a beautiful day. It's crisp, the sun is out, shining bright, and I have an opportunity I get to because of putting these things in motion and deciding to live my business life and everything I do the way that I want it to be. Enjoy, even though I'm going to admit sometimes it's been scary and I've had a lot of support, and I'm grateful for that. But now because I've taken that leap of faith and trust, I'm able to get up, go have breakfast on the water, enjoy some time with a friend, and then come on here to work into my office and have an opportunity to talk to you, see some clients today, and help people make these changes and become more consciously aware of their own unconsciousness so that we can take back control and activate that law of attraction. And that's really all it is. And Esther Hicks in Ask and Is Given, she speaks about this all the time, and she's got amazing YouTube videos all over the place. But it's finding that feeling. The feeling of happiness is not outside you. Nothing out here is going to give it to you. It all is inside of you. So whether you're sad or whether you're happy, whether you're angry, you're frustrated, you're angry at somebody or a situation, your happiness is inside of you. Whether you have everything you've ever wanted or you have nothing. How many people do we know that have everything and they're still miserable? And they then medicate themselves with drugs and alcohol or addictions, sex, whatever, or just, people that have won the lottery and they're not even comfortable having all the things they always wanted because it's still not making them happy because happiness is in here, whether you have nothing or you have everything. So if you want to attract all this beautiful life to yourself, the secret to the whole thing is being happy where you are right now in here and grateful. Gratitude's a huge part of this is being grateful for little things. It's amazing to me. And this has been a struggle for me all my life, pretty much. I mean, I had to learn this and I studied this because I needed to learn it. I didn't understand why things happened the way they did. I didn't understand why people behaved the way they did and why I felt the way I did. And so I had to learn this, and it's taken a long time for it to really sink in and soak in where I can live it every day. But a little secret is gratitude. So even if you have very little, you have more than other people or some. Maybe you have clothes that you're wearing that are keeping you warm today. Be grateful for that, even if it's not brand new clothes from or Neiman Marcus or whatever. You still have something keeping you warm and protecting you today. So be grateful for those little things. If you can see today, be grateful for that. If you can hear music, be grateful for that. If you can breathe and air into your lungs, be grateful for that. Every little thing is so important. And the more gratitude you give and the more joy you find in those little things, the more that's going to expand and attract more good things to you. And it just works just like that. So remember, your thoughts are things. How you feel is key to all of this. Gratitude is a simple way to make that adjustment. And don't forget about your deep breaths. All right, I am going to pop over here. I want to look at the 7 spiritual laws of success. And I found this. There's many. There's a law of pure potentiality. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. The law of giving and receiving. So this is something I'm going to just briefly touch on, the law of giving and receiving. I spend time in social media going to different groups because I know there's a lot of people hurting out there that have anxiety and depression. And it's also part of research for our 6-figure success system for my hypno-professional students. And I see it out there a lot. I've gone into these groups where there's people really suffering, and I feel so bad for them. They're just like, I'm lonely, nobody loves me, I just want to die, that kind of thing. They're just not feeling good about themselves, really lonely and unhappy and frustrated. So there is this law called the law of giving and receiving. So with my clients, one of the first things I will share is you can't stay sad when you're serving others. You cannot stay sad when you're serving others. Think about that for a minute. And when we're vibrating at this low level of depression and sadness and feeling worthless or lonely, nobody loves me, I don't have any friends, it's difficult to get yourself back up to the higher vibrations of love, joy, gratitude, harmony, clarity. So, but there's several ways. There's a couple tips. One is the deep breathing I was just talking about. That can help. Getting outside in nature, taking a walk, being grateful for the trees and the flowers and watching nature, just watching the butterflies, the squirrels, a stray cat, whatever, getting out in nature. Exercise is the other one. Just getting a walk, doing some jumping jacks, you can change your state because it releases endorphins. Um, but here's another one. You can't stay sad when you're serving other people. And there are always opportunities to get involved. So, whether you get involved with a group that is cooking at the soup kitchen for the homeless or the needy, even if you are homeless and needy, you're still serving. It's going to help you. You're going to make connections with people that are going to help you. You're going to make new friendships. So I spent 10 years, for example, I spent, well, more than that, decades as a volunteer at the local chamber of commerce, going to business events. I always volunteer, take leadership roles, jump in and help sell raffle tickets, whatever you can do. You're going to meet other people that are doing that too, and you're not going to be lonely. You start to make friends. But let's say you're not business oriented and that doesn't speak to you. I was a member 10 years in Kiwanis Club of Stockton, and we served our community. We did cleanup jobs. We did a big, huge fundraiser. We had 70 members. I had all these new friends, and actually, some of them are still friends. They're going to be lifelong friends. There's Lions Club, same thing. Get out in the community. They cook for events that are trying to raise money for other people who need help. You're going to make friends, and they meet every week. So, at least once a week you have a place to go, have some lunch or breakfast, and build some relationships while doing community service. So a few years ago, I was a member of the local Hispanic chamber, and we had an opportunity to go to our local dining hall. So I took my son, so he would have the experience as well, my teenage son. And we chopped onions and we peeled carrots to serve the homeless and needy in our community a nice dinner. And you know what? It was extremely rewarding. We made good friends in that group, the other people that were volunteering as well. We were wearing our little funny hats and our aprons, and we were just cooking and having a great time. And we got to know each other better. And those are friends I still have. So, community service, the law of giving and receiving, and also being able to receive graciously, because I know when I was younger, I always felt so funny when somebody would give me a gift. And I had met some friends at my work, and there was this one gal, she was just so sweet, and she would buy me gifts and she'd give them to me. And I felt so awkward accepting them, but you just say thank you. That's the law of receiving. So when somebody gives you, you give gratitude, say thank you. And so you're giving and you're also receiving, and you're doing it from your heart, not with any strings attached. When you give, it's just pure take it, and that's it. All right. So, and Deepak Chopra says the law of giving and receiving, the universe operates through dynamic exchange. Giving and receiving are different aspects of the flow of energy in the universe. And in our willingness to give that which we seek, we keep the abundance of the universe circulating in our lives. I love that. All right, now I'm going to quickly switch over to the law of pure potentiality. And I love this law because it applies to everything. Everything is pure potential. Everything is energy, and some things are unmanifest energy. So that means they still have potential to become manifest energy. So this is how this reads. The law of pure potentiality. The source of all creation is pure consciousness. Pure potentiality seeking expression from the unmanifest to the manifest. And when we realize that our true self, capitalized higher self, our true self, our soul self, is one of pure potentiality, we realign with the power that manifests everything in nature. Wow, that's powerful. When we realize that our true self is one of pure potentiality, that's our soul self, we align with the power that manifests everything in nature. Your thoughts are that potential. Your emotions are that potential. Your thoughts are directing the manifestation of whatever you're thinking about. Ah, it's crazy. I hope this has been really insightful for you. It's been amazing for me. I really appreciate you taking the time to join me. It's wonderful to have you here. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me, shoot me a private message or whatever, or drop me a note. I'd love to hear from you and how you're doing. And if you want to set up a consultation, love to hear from you as well. So let's see here. I am just going to pop this up here. So every Wednesday we do this, every Wednesday, 11 Pacific time, right here at California Hypnosis Center and Academy Group. And you can also catch this episode on Spotify. So that's our new podcast, and it's getting more and more exciting over there. So there's the link if you want to join us each week. Please do, and I look forward to hearing from you. All right, so next up at 12:30, we will have Everything Hypnosis Pro for the professional hypnotherapist, coach, holistic practitioners who want to make a difference. I'm going to be talking about everything hypnosis to do with business. So please do ignite your hypnotic awesomeness, and you have a great week. Bye now. Oh, I forgot. Next week, before I go, next week, I'm so excited. We're kicking off the expert interview series next week with Dan Goyette from Michigan Hypnotherapy Guild and the Hypno Cafe podcast and Hypno Cafe magazine. He's a very busy guy. Anyway, he'll be joining me next week on Everything Hypnosis at 11:11. We're going to be doing the interview with Dan and learning all about his upcoming convention, and it's coming up in August, and all about all the projects he has going on that have to do with hypnosis. So we will see you then. All right. Bye now.